Hello, I'm Jessie Janae, and you're watching Unboxing Things. We're gonna unbox and decode what is going on with the e-commerce packaging that you touch every day. So, first things first, let's see what brand is in my magical mailbox today. Okay, I found it. All right, we have two packages, both from one incredible brand, Elysium. Elysium is making science-backed supplements and tests for brain health and life extension. Pretty fancy stuff. Double the trouble. We've got two different boxes from Elysium, one for the testing kit I ordered and one for the supplements. This is a craft box, roll and tuck front, and then this is a little bit more interesting. It's actually a sleeve. I already popped off the adhesive piece here. And this sleeve is protective corrugate sleeve with an aqueous coating and then a foil stamp in holographic. This is quite fancy and also quite unique. Unique not only from an aesthetic standpoint, but also from a construction standpoint, because this fully protects my inner kit in transit. This outer component is a piece of corrugate, an E-flute, a thinner flute, so you can kind of see that it's quite thin, but still really rigid and strong, so it protects my kit in transit. And this tube is made by just cutting out a piece of corrugate and then doing one glue piece here to make it into a tube that I can just easily slide over in fulfillment. Tubes, bands, whatever you call it, this is actually a really efficient way of protecting something in transit. I think it's underutilized. Inside that protective corrugate, we actually have a rigid box. Rigid box simply means that instead of being made out of corrugated material, which is 3 layers of paper with a squiggly one inside, this is actually made out of pressed paperboard. So it's still made of paper, but it has no corrugated component. It's actually pressed board together. These boxes are rigid. They're usually stand-up boxes, meaning that they don't require assembly, they don't break down. They actually are rigid in their form factor as well. And then they often have a way of closing. Sometimes it's magnetic. In this case, there's actually a peel strip here that I can use to close this box. This is actually a testing kit that allows me to test my own saliva to understand the biological age of my own cells. And what that means is I'm gonna need to do some spit into this tube here, and I need to send it back to Elysium for processing. So this is a way of me actually reclosing this box, using this again, and actually sending it back. We have an instructional booklet with some incredible UV printing and also really detailed instructions for exactly what I needed to do inside. Beautiful branding. Do you see this shine? Love this liquidy look shine. And then of course we have the component that I need to use here for the tube that I spit into. And then we have a carton wrap as well that actually protects this component and gives me instruction. And this whole assembly goes into this insert that is made out of foam that perfectly cradles these components, so everything arrives to me safely and perfectly in formation. Here's for their other product, the supplements that I ordered. This is a craft shipper box, front roll and tuck front, meaning that the actual box closes by rolling this front flap over and tucking into the front here. This is printed on the outside. You've got white printing on craft. It says, please recycle. I love a reminder to recycle. Also, you have this Elysium E kind of marcated here on the side. The thermal label here folds over the edge, but something you'll notice is that the scannable part here is actually on one surface. This is important because the scanning component of the label needs to be on one side. You don't want to split it between two sides because you might have scanning issues in fulfillment, which leads to misdelivered packages. And this box is sealed with one small piece of packing tape. Really simple, you don't need more than that because the box construction, the flaps actually hold things in place. A dab will do ya. Now, there's a detail about this box that I know that you can't see when you're looking at it because it's covered up by the shipping label. Here is this box brand fresh without being shipped. What's really cool is that you can see place label here. You know how I just talked about how the shipping label was placed perfectly so that the item actually scans? Well, that's not a mistake. The label actually has this beautiful imagery for showing in fulfillment where to place the label. You as a end consumer don't get to see this, but in fulfillment, the labor force that's helping put these labels on sees it, they know how to place the label, it cuts down on mistakes, and also serves as instruction so every box is consistent. And this is really inexpensive. This doesn't cost Elysium more money because they're already printing the box with the logo and the beautiful branding. So adding this label component here, it's a little bit of ink, but really not much. So there's no real waste to this component. It's actually a great idea. Let's go inside this box. I'm going to open the tape here. Now, let's open this component. Ooh, okay. I like what's going on in here. There's colors, there's brightness, there's product. Also, there's minimalism. This is a pretty box, folks. I want to mention a couple things that stand out to me. One, this tone on tone. What you have going on here is subtle but powerful. The box is clearly craft on the outside and then white colored corrugate on the inside. That means that this piece of material started with craft on one side and white on the other, and then it was printed in this blue color and also with this black ink. The subtlety that you might not notice is this circle that looks white is a white circle, but it's not printed. What's printed is the rest of the material with a pale blue color, and then Elysium is printed in the white circle. So this is referred to as a reversed out print, meaning that what looks like a core component is actually just the absence of ink. And then this box has an insert. I'm a sucker for a corrugate insert because it perfectly cradles the components. This corrugate insert also snaps into the side of the box with a tab that actually locks into the side here, and that makes the insert stay in place in transit. It actually can't slide around. Really simple, but very effective. This insert started white on the two sides and then was printed with this beautiful cobalt blue color on one side. So flood coated on one side and cut out with a cutting die. Simple component, very inexpensive, very low material use, but perfectly holds these components in place. I love the efficiency. Look how little material this is. This is preventing Elysium from needing to use tissue paper, wrapping paper, other void fill, peanuts, but also it looks beautiful. I bet you saw that printing peekaboo. I'm gonna put the insert back in. What do you see? Besides this logo, there's some other copy happening inside this box, and you can see it when you remove the product, like a little peekaboo. I love a packaging peekaboo, and I love this. The copy says share your experience, and there's a phone number and also an email address. Here's what I love about this. They're not actually asking you to share your experience on social media. They're not just like, hey, take a photo, share this online. They're actually asking for feedback directly. They're saying, email us, call us. They put a phone number right here. Tell us about your experience. This is a really science-oriented company, a company that cares deeply about my health and my longevity. And so I love that they take that seriously and they want direct feedback. And nothing says we want direct feedback than asking for it with actual contact information right when you open the product. When's the last time you saw a phone number, like on anything? Most brands are making it harder and harder to actually talk to a real human being, and Elysium is like, hey, speak to us, we want to hear from you. These two containers both carry 60 capsules of the basis product for cellular health and optimization. This is what I'm actually gonna take and keep in my cupboard, in my drawer. And both of these are really beautiful. What I love is it echoes this circular formation, the white, the really dark blue of the Elysium brand. This E that you saw on the outside of the e-commerce box also echoed here on the actual component. Really simple, really beautiful execution, simple colors, minimal. Now, I ordered 120 capsules, but you can order 60, one of these jars. When you do that, Elysium actually has a separate insert that just has a 1 jar holder. This highlights the flexibility of this packaging component. Sometimes the most efficient thing you can do for your packaging is actually make it fit multiple different types of orders. Your customers don't only order one thing and order the exact same order every time. So making it so that one box component can accommodate different orders saves a lot in materials and also in cost. I want to talk about this Corrugat fluting. This is not your standard B flute, which is kind of your thicker flute that you see in a lot of like standard shipping boxes. This is something different. I'm gonna grab my flute examples. As I suspected, this is an E flute. Now, E flute is a really cool material because it has the same strength properties as something like B flute. Like, it's actually really tough. It's not going to puncture in transit. It's strong, but it's thinner. And what do you get when you have a thinner box? One, actually the bends and the corner transitions are tighter. Leads to kind of a tighter design quality and aesthetic in the box. Two, it's actually thinner, which means that when this box is flat, when the materials shipped to the plant to actually be processed and cut, when the box is actually shipped to Elysium's distribution center, E-flute boxes stack thinner, which means less volume taken up in transit and in a warehouse. Less volume means less wasted space, less emissions, less transit, more efficiency. Simple changes can make a huge impact. I want to draw your attention to the differences between this test kit experience and the supplement experience. Supplements are something I use all the time. I'm going to run through this in a month or two, and I need a new shipment. You can see that echoed in the packaging choices. This is really easy to recycle. It's simple. It's really efficient. This component is actually elevated. The materials are more luxe. This booklet is gorgeous and beautiful and really walks me through the experience because it's less straightforward, right? Taking a supplement is something I know how to do. I don't need a lot of instruction. Whereas this test, to test my cellular age, I need a little bit more hand-holding. I want it to feel a little bit more like an experience that Elysium thought through. So this you can see highlighted in the effort that they put into this component, and also something that I'm going to receive much less frequently. Now, I want to highlight that there's a shipping label already applied to this component, and when I remove the sleeve, I can see this shipping label. This makes it really easy for me to send this back to Elysium. So this sleeve protected this in transit, covered this up, allowed this to get to me really safely. And by the way, the sleeve is really easy to recycle. And then this component is ready for me to use the kit, seal it back up with the already included seals here, the already included adhesive, and then this is ready to pop right into the mailbox to go back to Elysium. I think it's time to roll in the recap. Elysium is a really forward-thinking company, and so is their packaging. First off, it's innovative. They're using a lot of different packaging form factors and also processes. You know, the actual insert in this component to the way that this rigid box opens, it can close as well. The UV coating here, the fact that this corrugated sleeve protects us in transit and allows it to make 2 trips. A lot of innovation going on the packaging front. It's also original. Elysium has come up with these packaging form factors. They have created the experience of using this kit and also getting your supplements. I think that there's a lot of originality in this packaging that should not be ignored. And third, it's guided. I'm not confused about any aspects of this packaging suite. I know how to use my supplements and how to recycle this packaging. And also over here on the kit, there's actually guided instruction on exactly what to do, how to utilize it, beautiful instructions and kind of illustrations. And then also at every step, there's something to tell me exactly what to do. And for a product this progressive, something like cellular health and my longevity, I really appreciate that attention to detail. This has been Elysium Unboxed.